your organization has achieved a significant dent in vaccine mandates.
We didn't do the science. We didn't do the clinical trials. We didn't do the post safety. But one thing we know it's rare.
So all of the great leaders we've got here in the Texas legislature that are trying to make Texas even stronger and to lead the way, they're the ones that you should really be focused on. I just try to keep Washington the hell out of the way, and that's my primary responsibility and job. So I just want to thank Michelle. I want to thank Melody. I want to thank everybody involved with this organization, this effort. And what a great turnout on a cold, rainy day here. And, look, a lot of you know some of my story and some of my background. What you don't know is that, look, my dad had polio in 1949. He had bulbar and spinal polio, and is one of the few who survived that. He's now 82 and still getting around. But as a sort of example, without talking about the vaccine for a minute, my grandmother was a single mom. My grandfather had died of cancer literally the same time that my dad was diagnosed in the fall of 49. My grandmother went on to be the first woman elected county clerk in Nolan County while she was taking care of my dad. Well, all the doctors said, you got to put him in an iron lung. And they were all telling him to do that. My grandmother said, hell no, you're not doing that. He's going to rise or fall on his own, and we're going to ride this out. And the doctor said, well, he's not going to make it. Well, she was right. He made it, and now he's still around. And unfortunately, all of my colleagues now have to deal with me in Congress. But my point of saying that is, we have a right. We have a right to make our own decisions about our health. That is fundamental to who we are. And if you can't have what I call healthcare freedom, you don't have freedom. If you can't choose the doctor of your choice, if you can't choose what you're putting in your body, if you're being forced by the tyranny of government to take a vaccine and they say, oh, no, you have a choice. Yeah, be fired or take the vaccine. That's not a choice. And that's what we were dealing with in the days of Anthony Fauci. That's what we were dealing with during the days of COVID tyranny. And I'm thankful for all of the work here in Texas, what we're trying to do in Washington to push back. God bless President Trump for nominating Bobby Kennedy and those that are raising the questions. And look, I think it's important to note for a second, there's a lot of conservatives and libertarian-minded individuals in this room right now. I consider myself one of them, a lot of these great folks in the Texas legislature. If you would have asked any one of us 2 years ago, much less 5 years ago, would we be standing up at a dais praising the nominations and then confirmations of Bobby Kennedy and Tulsi Gabbard, you would have thought we were crazy. But let's understand why that matters. I don't agree with Bobby on everything. He and I have talked about that. I wrote a case defending Bobby last week or 2 weeks ago that we published and we printed. And in that, I defended all of the things that he has been out there trying to lead and the coalition that President Trump has put together under Make America Healthy Again. And it's a critically important coalition to change the game because the battle here is against the forces of crony capitalism, the forces of big corporate America and big government bureaucrats who are taking your freedom away. The ones who want to choose how you should live and base that on profit rather than, now again, I'm a capitalist. I'm for profit. Take a step back for a second. I'm fine that my dad, there are disagreements in this room about the polio vaccine. I'm for the polio vaccine because I watched what polio did to my dad. You can agree or disagree. But I can tell you as a cancer survivor, I'm glad that the drug that I took was developed by a pharmaceutical company that helped save my life. It was an important drug that goes in with immunotherapy and targets the cancer cells. I think it's awesome. I want more of it. I testified under oath, or I said at a hearing, that I hope they're rolling in money for it. Because I do. I am a capitalist. I want innovation. I want those things developed. But what I don't want is a revolving door of crony government bureaucrats who go in and out of government into those same pharmaceutical companies, minting money while you guys are the ones paying the bills, while we're the ones that end up getting shafted because the government is the one controlling all the power. So I reintroduced, I should say, but in this new Congress, a bill I call the Libel Act, which guarantees that at least for the COVID drugs, I co-sponsor a broader one, for COVID vaccines, the COVID shots, that they will be subject to liability, because they should be. Because at the end of the day, that is what pierces the veil. right? Back in the 1980s, they introduced legislation to break down that liability, right? And to say, oh no, you don't have to be liable. That's a problem. These companies have to be liable just as much as a car manufacturer is for developing a car that you ride around in, whether it's safe or not. That liability protection is how we hold them accountable. So the Libel Act, again, I reintroduced it today, would reinstate and ensure that there's liability protection for you all by allowing you to go to these manufacturers and say, hey, myocarditis, it's real. Let you go into court and prove it up. Because there's only been 50 payouts through the fund, the compensation fund of the government, out of the 14,000 cases that have been brought before it. You all ought to have a right in our system of justice to be able to go forward and make sure that if you have any dangers or any harms, that you're able to go sue and get them. I'm going to wrap up pretty quickly because I want to be able to get the program underway. But look, I would just say this. I introduced a 48-page booklet, My Case for Healthcare Freedom, in which I talk about the Make America Healthy Again agenda, talk about what you need to do to make sure we're not over-medicated, make sure the foods we're putting in our bodies are making you healthy, but importantly, breaking down what I described earlier about all of the money flowing into big pharma, big insurance, big hospitals, that we got to break that down and re-empower you all and doctors to reinstate that relationship between you and doctors so you can have the health care of your choice. That is what healthcare freedom looks like. Because at the end of the day, the answer is more freedom. It's more health savings accounts, more direct primary care to doctors, more control over the medicines you take. Because when big government and big business team up, you're no longer a patient, you're an ATM. And you shouldn't be treated as such. You should be the patient. You should be in control of your health care. I'm going to keep fighting in Washington for that. I'm going to keep working with these great guys here in Texas to make sure that we have a combined force for protecting your liberty and health. God bless you all. God bless all the groups part of it. God bless this great state, and God bless this great country. Y'all take care.
I am going to be super quick today because I have two other heroes over here, Mitch Little and Shelley Luther, state representatives that are working super hard for you, and they're due on the floor in about 18 minutes. And I'm in committee, but I want you to know I've got staff here. They're going to be listening, and we're going to be working with y'all. I just have to say a couple of things, really. We have to put families first, and we will do that. We fought back from the lockdowns. We fought back from the mandates on the COVID vaccine. It took us a while to get to SB 7, but we did it. And long before that, one of the most underrated bills that I passed was Senate Bill 968 during the COVID that banned those what do we call them? Those vaccine passports. My gosh, and I had penalties. If a restaurant was going to make you show that, they were going to lose their liquor license and their food license. You got to put teeth into legislation to make it be enforceable, okay? So here's the thing. We've done a lot. We learned a lot from COVID. What was that, right? I mean, what was that? And now truth is coming out, and the tyranny is being stomped down. And I want you to know, just like in 1917, after the influenza pandemic, very few people wanted to look back. They really didn't do a war college. They didn't want to talk about it. They just shut the door on it, right? We can't do that because we have to set the annals of history correct. We have to know what went right and wrong. We have to give freedom to doctors that can prescribe ivermectin if it's working. And those are the kind of things that I think I heard Birx last night, Dr. Birx finally say, we need to let the science drive us, and we made a lot of mistakes. Where were you in 2020, right? Where was that Dr. Birx in 2020? So here's what I want to say. We've passed some really good bills, whether it's Senate Bill 7, Senate Bill 29, HB 44. I had a bill last session, SB 1024, got out of the Senate. You know, we powered it out to see it die in the Texas House. We've got some real leaders over there that are going to help get those things done. Got some great bills this time, SJR 10, SB 407, SB 119, SB 754. I'm the chair of Health and Human Services. I'm working with members to make sure that we get these things through. And here's the thing, guys. RFK Jr., Dr. Macri, there's so many, Bhattacharya, there's so many good things. Brooke Rollins at the USDA. This week, hopefully later this week, I'm going to be filing the Texas Maha bill, okay? And I just want y'all to know it's going to be SB 25. And it's just, it's kind of an outline. I'm not acting like I have all the answers. I do not have all the answers. I just know that the Lord has put me in a place to serve y'all, to serve the people, and to serve our Lord and Savior. And so we want your input. We want to hear what you think. Hopefully, Callie or Casey Means is going to be able to be here to testify on it next week. Pretty cool. So these are the kind of things we're working on. RFK Jr. would not be the Secretary of Health and Human if it weren't for people like you speaking up and having that momentum to get him appointed to that and get him through the United States Senate. I say the Texas Senate's pretty powerful, too.
Thank you. Shelley Luther's, do I not have the best desk mate in the Texas House or what? Shelley Luther's amazing. I'm so blessed to be here with you. They're already changing the rules in the Texas House to mess with you. So last week was the 10th anniversary of Texas for Vaccine Choice, and isn't that amazing? And I put together a resolution on the House floor, and I show up at the House floor, we're going to do this resolution. The parliamentarian says, you can't do that resolution. And I said, why not? And I said, it's too much advocacy and policy. Like, everything here is political. It's just too much advocacy and policy, we can't do that. I said, okay, I'm going to do a recognition instead. And so I got the chance to recognize Rebecca and Michelle and all the people at Texans for Vaccine Choice from the House floor. But the next day, the Democrats tried to do a memorial resolution for Cecile Richards at Planned Parenthood. And I said, that's got a lot of advocacy and policy in it, doesn't it? And they pulled the memorial resolution. And then I went to lunch, and there was a Democrat at lunch that says, I can't believe they didn't let us do the Cecile Richards resolution. I mean, they let you recognize the anti-vaxxers from the floor. And I looked at this woman in the eye and said, opinions vary. Let me tell you, the work is not done here. It's not done. We still have people in higher ed who are mandated to get vaccines. We still have nursing students who are having to choose between their professional life and their potential health risks and having to get vaccines in Texas. The work is not over. The thing that I just want to do today as a final act is just to honor the mothers in this room. This is an organization, I don't know if you realize this, this is an organization by mothers, for mothers, put together for the benefit of the kids, just like the kids in this room. And if anyone in Texas politics tells you mama doesn't know best, mama knows best. And we honor you, mama bears, for your tireless advocacy and your relentless efforts. We will fight for you in the Capitol. We will fight for you in the courthouses of this state. We will fight for you in every club, in every city, in every town, in every county. And we are blessed by all of your efforts, not only here today, but all year long throughout the session. Hold us accountable. Hold the political officials who represent you back home accountable for their votes and remind them that mama knows best. Otherwise, they'll be seeing you at the polls, right? That's right. You are truly an amazing group of people. Thank you for allowing me the privilege to honor you here today and all the amazing things that you have done. God bless you, Rebecca, Michelle, Carrie, everybody on the board. This is an amazing organization. Keep fighting. Never give up. Don't be discouraged. Don't grow weary in doing good. Now is the time. It's your time. God bless you guys. I'm going to go to the floor.
It is so nice to see a big room full of fighters. I love it. And, you know, one of the biggest things that people say to me all the time is like, I can't believe you had the courage to go to jail. And you know what my response is? I can't believe you didn't. Yeah. Yeah. And all of you are the people that stand up daily against the grain, against what people are telling you. What you're doing isn't safe. And you know in your mind and in your heart what is right, and you fight. So good on you. Good on you. I wasn't political before all of this. I had no idea what I was doing. I barely even voted, I'm embarrassed to say. Sorry, you guys are so involved. But at the same time, when people were like, where were you in 2020? I was in jail. I was in jail, and when people ask me again, do you regret anything? Oh no, I'll go back right now if we had to. And it's because I have people like you behind me that will say she's doing the right thing and she's protecting our families. One of the things that we haven't really announced yet, and I guess now is a good time, we're only filing 5 or 6 bills because I want to babysit them and make sure they get through. Of course, we're going to be with all the Republican priorities, and anything that these ladies want to pass, we're on board, duh, right? But we also filed a bill that vaccine manufacturers cannot advertise at all if they are not liable. Hit them where the money hurts them, right? And I knew it was a good bill because when I sent it to my chief of staff, who was sitting right there, she goes, based. And I'm like, okay, good. I think that's good. I'm getting old, but I think that's good. But I want you guys, oh, there she is right there. She's laughing at me. Yes, she's younger. So what I will tell you is I'm in it for the fight. I'm not afraid of anyone or anything, as you can tell, and I'm glad to have these warriors back here to help me and all of you as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to the Shot Callers podcast. Please, if you found value in this content, rate us and share the podcast with a friend. It's a great way to get the message out and to empower everyone to make informed decisions. Until next time, never forget, we are the Shot Callers.